Since I was young, I have always felt guided by this voice. I've written about the voice a little bit, but this voice has somehow always known exactly where I needed to go. And when I'm doing the right things, I hear this voice often. And this voice has always known I was meant for some extreme type of greatness. And if you have that voice, you have to listen to it too. Because the number one risk in your life is losing that voice. As long as you have the voice, you'll be fine and you'll keep going and you might go through periods where you don't listen as much, but you'll know in the back of your head that it's there and it will not let you settle. When you stop listening or when you stop hearing the voice, that's when you're kind of fucked. And that's when you're going to live your life and decades, years are going to go by and you're going to regret things. But I just finished one of the hardest long run workouts I've ever done. Um, it was fucking amazing. You have these workouts as a runner or as an athlete, especially when you're, kind of new to a sport. I'm still pretty new to running. Really only started taking it seriously like 4 to 5 months ago. And you have these few workouts that really, put something in your brain that you're meant to do this and bring you to a new level of almost consciousness and like knowing yourself as an athlete, which is it's hard to explain unless you go through those moments. But like for me with running, it was earlier on in the fall. I was mostly running easy all year, 8-minute paces, 9-minute paces. And I went on one long run and in the middle of it, like mile 10 was putting down like 6-minute 30 pace sprints, which I'd never done. And it was just pure ecstasy. And it's like that feeling got me so addicted to the sport. And I just had one of those workouts, which was amazing. I'll post the workout on the screen here, but also my phone might die or I might drop it because my hand is freezing. But basically, it was 16 miles, 2-mile warm up, and then 6 sets of 1 mile really hard and 1 mile like moderate pace, and then a 2-mile cool down. So that's like 12 miles of actual work. And going into it, I wanted to see if I could do all under 6:25 pace, which was like that's a super hard goal. Never done anything close to that. And I was sick 2 days ago, was throwing up all night, so I pushed this workout today, which I had never done, but I literally didn't eat the day before yesterday, so would have been dumb. So anyway, in the beginning of the workout, I felt absolute not great. Like the first hard mile, I was kind of slow, but then it's crazy how quick you go from, why am I doing this? I don't need to do this. This is so painful. To, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I capable of? When I got to like the 3rd mile sprint, I was basically sprinting. It was just something took over me, like that. I talk about the obsessed self, the obsessed version of myself. They just freaking grabbed the reins and had me by like the neck almost. And I was no longer in control, and it was just so enjoyable, and it was so I don't know, I was literally high off how good I felt in that third run. I think I put down like a 6-minute mile, and yeah, that's when I knew I was gonna have a good day. And it's crazy how fast that switch happens. And I think often that switch happens from pure pain, pure despair, why am I doing this, to pure ecstasy. That happens really fast, and you have to get right over that bridge of despair and like confusion and like wanting to quit, because right on the other side is that euphoria, and damn, it felt good. Then I basically ran all the way up the West Side Highway, all the way up to Central Park, and then back, and did like a loop of the bottom of Central Park up to the reservoir, if you know what I'm talking about. But that was a mistake. Central Park was so bad today. I think usually I'm out earlier, and I think Central Park, if you go in the afternoon, is a shit show, because I was like weaving in and out of people. It was so bad. So I actually wish I just stuck on the West Side Highway, because what I'll do on the West Side Highway of Manhattan, which I know I'm using like city terms. West Side Highway is literally just the west part of Manhattan. It's just this beautiful, sidewalk against the water. And what they really have, which is amazing, is a bike track, which it's like a real track material almost, and I'll just run on it. And yeah, if you run in the middle of the day, there's bikers and signs that get annoyed, but in the mornings or at nights, usually it's totally empty. When I got to Central Park, I did good. Central Park, it's easy to push myself. I've just programmed in my brain that Central Park is where I go really, really hard on my runs. And you're living in a movie there. It's the most enjoyable thing to run in Central Park. There's so much around you. You're in like the heart of the world in a lot of ways. Because there's so many people visiting. So it's almost like when I'm there, I'm like, it's like a show. That's how I feel about it. Like I'm performing, and it's not actually like that, but that's kind of how I treat it. Um, and then, so I put down some good miles in Central Park, and then got back and did my last hard sprint on the West Highway. And that was where I had one of these moments, like I had in the fall, where I was not feeling great. I was doing like 6:10 pace, 6:20 pace, and really wanted to try to get at a 6 minute to finish. It was the last hard sprint, and I started doing this thing. I do two things when I'm deep in the dark place. I gotta switch hands. I will literally close my eyes. You have to just like get into a trance with your feet. So you just have to like literally enjoy looking at your feet in rhythm, in motion, and try to almost feel like it's happening without you, and try to take yourself out of the experience and let yourself feel like a passenger in the pain. And it is an incredible feeling when you can actually get into that zone. And you can't stay there that long, but you can stay there, and it is something else. And it is incredibly addicting, and it's very hard to actually get in that zone effectively. But when you do, it's great. And half a mile can fly by and blink by. That's what happened. And then the only other thing I'll do is I will yell at myself. And I literally imagine, I have this obsessed version of myself, and I imagine him yelling at me. And I literally say it out loud, and people definitely think I'm fucking crazy. But I imagine it. He'll go, faster, Zach, faster, go faster. And I go faster, and I get this energy, this rush of energy from like my hamstrings up, and I fucking ripped it. And I think I did that last mile at 6 minutes or 6:02. I'm going to talk more in a second. My arm is dying, and I need to go shower, and I'm freezing. All right, we're back. In the office now. I need to test out this audio. I'm not sure if there's too much echo in here, but oh man, that was a good fucking run. There's something about those long runs where you really push yourself, where it feels like there's something about those long runs where you really push yourself. You basically get to have an orgasm all day. That is what it feels like. And maybe I'm not getting laid enough, but that is actually what it feels like. It's like you're high all day. Especially that like hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after. It is such a good feeling. And the craziest part is, one of the craziest things about running more, and that you can't understand it until you actually start doing it, is you don't get sore. Like, it is super rare for you to be like, oh, like your legs are shot, can't walk. That only happens like after a marathon or after like a race or extreme. I haven't felt that once all prep, and I go out there on every hard workout, which is like 2 times a week, and I fucking give everything I can. I'm fucking dying, basically. Like to an extent, like it's hard to explain, but you're not killing yourself so that you can't walk tomorrow. But I'm going fucking as hard as I can. And 6 months ago or a year ago, if I was doing 13 miles or 6 miles, even, I would be shot. I would be sore the next day or the next few days. So that's a really kind of like a hidden benefit of running that people don't talk about, is like, oh yeah, you just don't get sore anymore. So you can just go every day. That's why runners run every day. It's not just because they're freaks, because they're not sore. They can't physically do it. I'm eating some, it's kind of gross, but chicken Alfredo thing from Wegmans. I need to get back on my diet. So for some context, like this time last year, I was like 230 pounds at 6'3", with some muscle. And so I wouldn't call myself like fat, but I was like basically fat, like overweight, chubby. Like, I'll try to post a picture here. I hated the way I looked. So I went from like 227-ish pounds down to like 206, 205 for this first marathon I did, which was about a month ago. And I'm still like the same weight. So I dieted super hard from like September to December. lost like 20-ish pounds in that time frame. And I haven't really been losing weight since that marathon, even though I've been training so much because I've just been hungry. I just haven't been trying. I should have been trying a little more because now I'm gonna have to like press on the gas a little bit because I don't want to weigh 207 pounds at this next marathon. I want to weigh like under 200, ideally. That's the goal, under 200, I think. Yeah, because it's 7 weeks away, which is perfect amount of time to like lose that. And you have to keep in mind that the week of, you're gonna gain back weight a little bit because you're eating so much the week of. But yeah, so right now I am 7 weeks out basically from my second marathon, Austin Marathon. It feels so soon because that 7 weeks is really 5 more weeks of training. So that basically means like 10 more workouts, which isn't a lot. Um, but I didn't train that much for the first one. So like all this is such a new stimulus for me. Like now I'm doing like 50-mile weeks, and that was like my monthly mileage for September, October, November before my first marathon. So that's an insane difference. That's like 4 times the miles. And I didn't do any speed workouts, which are like I think huge. So basically, what speed workouts are is, once a week I'm going out there and running like basically sprinting pace for like um a minute or 2 minutes, like 12 reps of that, whatever. It's those are so fun. It is so fun. I realize the part of running I love the most is just that pure bliss you get pushing yourself, and that that's a sprint. But you can feel that on a long run too, and it's a different type of push, because it is so mental on those long runs. It is so mental to be able to, in mile 12 of a long run, to be able to push yourself through that pain and through that soreness. And it is like this mental game of chess you're playing with your muscles and your mind, and that game is so addicting. It is so addicting to know the moves that you're going to play against yourself, and then try to out compete yourself. That's how I view it. And it's like you learn new things about yourself every time. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like you have these iconic runs, I think. I think in a prep you probably have a few of them where like you genuinely see yourself in a new way for the first time. And that's part of why I'm getting so addicted to running. It is like this obsessed version of me in its purest form. Um, this feels good talking to the camera. I never have done it. Never. Never felt comfortable. But for the first time in my life, and honestly, a lot of I think that's because of the running made me really comfortable with the voice inside my head. I also do think that writing online for years refines the way your thoughts work, because I think about this a lot. It's like basically every interesting thought I've had, I've tweeted for the last like 4 years. And so tweeted or posted on Instagram, but especially tweeted. And so it's like I'm basically getting instant feedback on my thoughts all the time. And that is kind of fucked up when you think about it. But that's what I've done. And so it's like now I feel like that makes me think better, and I can analyze when I'm having better thoughts, and that makes me speak better. Obviously it's a new skill to me. Obviously I suck at it, but I will get better, and I will you know, that's the goal. It's like if I can combine like these skills I have or these passions I have of writing, of running, and of the design, I think is like my third obsession. If I can combine them into one thing, which I think because of the design piece, how much I care about it, it has to exist in some visual format. It can't just be writing. Um, I think I'm going to take over the world. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know if it's with these videos. I don't know if it's with something else. But that is my goal. That is my goal, is to get to the top of the world in these three areas: the artist, the athlete, and the entrepreneur. The writing, the right now marathon running, and the entrepreneur, I'll figure out. I haven't figured it out yet, and I will. And I think it has to come last, because otherwise, I think it has to come last because it has to be a natural, um, almost like a filter of the first two, of the art and the athletics. It has to, those activities which take up so much of your life have to filter into this business and be a natural part of it. Um, it has to be a natural reflection of the journey I've been on. And this sounds kind of woo woo, but I think it's really true. And I think I'm really close to what that business should be, and how I take this journey I've been on and the journey that inspires people that follow me. Finding my obsession, keeping going, getting through college, being really alone, starting that business where I was, driving to weddings, doing photo booths, driving 7 hours to weddings. I did that for years. Um,
taking that whole journey and packaging it into this one brand name. That is like the game. That is the game that I care about. So yeah, these videos are going to be documenting my obsession year. Let's put the logo up top. Boom. Also, this hoodie, Endorphins Running, my friend Tyler Schwartz is founder of, the creator of. Amazing hoodie, amazing. It's like one of the biggest run clubs in the country, and he started it like a year ago, which is crazy. All right, back to me because I'm all that matters. Um, I don't know if the sound is different with the hoodie on, so I'm gonna take it off for the rest of the video. But the goal with this is to document like what I'm obsessed with specifically in these three verticals, which are the artist, the writing, the content stuff I'm doing. It's the athlete, which is right now marathon running, and the entrepreneur, which is like the brands I want to build. That's like the piece I haven't really done well. Having this audience, having building this audience for years. I've done it a little bit with sponsors and with some drops and a tiny bit, 0.01%. But now it's time to really fucking build it next year so that I can get the machine going, which is like I have this product that takes what I'm doing and makes money, and I can take that money and make better art and do focus more on my athletics. And that cycle just goes and goes. And I think that's when magic happens, when it's like you have this machine that makes money that is based off your obsessions. And then that machine comes adds more to the obsession, and the obsession adds more to the machine, and then it just becomes this insane cycle. And that's when you build something that really goes insane. Um, and if you can do all that and wrap yourself in a movement like obsession that people, identify with and attach themselves to, and it can help change their lives. That's my goal. That's my goal. And so my goals are reach the pinnacle of those three mediums, which are the art. I want to have some of the biggest books in the world, maybe in history, about obsession and about artist, athlete, entrepreneur, and these things that I think really matter and that people don't talk about enough. I want to be an elite athlete in whatever I do. Right now, marathon running, I think I can get damn near um, the top of that game. And maybe not. I don't know how far I'll take it, but I feel like I'm fucking built for it. And then the entrepreneur piece is have, brand or brands that, I think a good life goal is to have a portfolio that's doing, I don't know, $1 billion value portfolio, maybe across one brand or several. That seems like a good life goal. Um, companies that are worth that. Maybe in like a shorter time span, like a decade, maybe like a portfolio of a brand or brands that are doing 100 million in revenue a year. That's kind of like $1 billion value. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm going to document here for at least a year, and I'll keep documenting after that. But I feel ready. I feel like it's time to share what I'm doing, and I think the video piece is super important. I got recognized when I was on a run the other week, and then got recognized in the gym, and I think that's only happening because I'm showing my face more. And not that getting recognized matters. It doesn't, and it isn't important. But it is important that people are recognizing me, because I think that for me to be a role model to more people, they have to recognize me. And so that's important. So I'm going to keep doing it. And I actually don't like being recognized, really. It kind of, not that I get recognized that much, but it's kind of, it's not awkward. It's just like weird. But anyway, this is going to be really fun. This is going to be really challenging. I don't know how entertaining the videos are going to be. I'm going to try to make them entertaining and speak like I write, speak like I tweet and post on Instagram, because I think that's what people like, and just show you like the mind behind those thoughts, because I have never been this obsessed in my life. I've never felt like I am on the what's the right word? The start of a journey that's going to be insanely special. And since I was young, I have always felt guided by this voice. I've written about the voice a little bit, but this voice has somehow always known exactly where I needed to go. And when I'm doing the right things, I hear this voice often. And this voice has always known I was meant for some extreme type of greatness. And if you have that voice, you have to listen to it too. Because the number one risk in your life is losing that voice. As long as you have the voice, you'll be fine, and you'll keep going. And you might go through periods where you don't listen as much, but you'll know in the back of your head that it's there, and it will not let you settle. When you stop listening or when you stop hearing the voice, that's when you're kind of fucked. And that's when you're going to live your life, and your decades, years are going to go by, and you're going to regret things. But keep the voice alive, keep following obsession. Um, nice voice crack to end it. I'm gonna finish the rest of this chicken, and see you tomorrow.